Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second season of JCTC Conversations talk series, Black Space, with Khalia Davis and Idris Goodwin. These are pregnant times. What we're giving birth to, I don't know yet. And I am sending my prayers and love to our friends and family affected by the lives lost in Uvalde, Texas, in the recent school mass shooting. We all will send love and prayers for them when we have a moment of silence for our Black men and women in just a few moments. So here's a little bit about me. I am the curator and moderator of Black Space. My name is Ashley Nicole Baptiste. My pronouns are she, hers, and hers. I am streaming from the unceded land of the Lenape people, also known as Jersey City. For access, I am wearing a black turtleneck colored long sleeve sweater. I am a milk chocolate caramel complexion Black woman. I have locks that are about 18 inches long and my hair is up in a ponytail, and I'm wearing rose gold headphones and I'm sitting in front of a white background. I am an actress, educator, and the Associate Artistic Director of Jersey City Theater Center. Before we get started with my incredible guests who are here to talk about their production of Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, Khalia Davis, the director, and Idris Goodwin adapted the play. We will meet with them in just a moment. But first, I want to take a moment and acknowledge that there are a lot of racial injustices happening in the world. And I want us all to take a moment for the Black men, women, and Black trans women who still continue to be wrongfully murdered by the police in America and around the world. At this time, we're going to take a moment for the lives lost in the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas. We're collectively having a moment of silence for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Layleen Polanco, and Ahmaud Arbery, and the lives lost in the recent mass shooting. I also want to point out that yesterday was the anniversary of George Floyd's murder. So just keep that in mind of the moment we're in. So we will take a moment of silence now. Thank you for that. And I also want to thank you all for being here today. Now, let me talk a bit about Black Space. The Black Space series was curated because I want to create a video archive where Black artists from around the world can come together and have a candid and human-to-human exchange about art, race, and life. This series is about expansion and pushing past preconceived notions of Blackness. We invite you to join in on the journey with us and learn how you can be a part of the conversation to build community and forward positive movement for Black artists around the world. Feel free to comment in the chat box below and also be mindful of what you're typing. Tell us what you're curious about based on what is coming up in the conversation. Ask questions in the webinar chat and I'll make sure to catch the questions for us. We will read the questions near the end of the conversation. And I am thrilled and honored to introduce you all to my special guests today, Khalia Davis and Idris Goodwin. Khalia is off camera and Idris is off camera, but if you would like to type hello, I'm sure they'd be happy to see your name pop up at the bottom of the screen. Before we get started, I would like to make some acknowledgements. I would like to say thank you to our sponsors, iHeart Greenfield, Hudson County, New Jersey, Princeton Area Community Foundation, and the New Jersey Arts and Culture Recovery Fund. And thank you to Olga Lavina, my artistic director. You've been such a great collaborator on this journey with me. I appreciate you. Thank you to the entire team of JCTC who worked hard to make this possible. Thank you to Ryan Brooks, who was helping me behind the scenes with tech. I'm eternally grateful to you all. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to Yvonne Rowan for connecting me with Khalia and Idris. Shout out to the amazing creative team that put together this extraordinary production at New York City Children's Theater, and a major shout out to the actress portraying Maya Angelou. I know why the caged bird sings, Cherie J. Davis. She killed it and highly recommend people watching the show just for the performance alone. I am so honored to have the opportunity to shine the spotlight on these two amazing artists, Khalia Davis and Idris Goodwin. So here is a bit of their bios. Khalia Davis, she, her, is a multidisciplinary artist and artistic director of the Bay Area Children's Theater, where she recently led the world premiere of a kids' play about racism, which brought together over 40 theater producing theaters and has views on Broadway on demand nearly 80,000 times during its limited run, then became a free resource for educators and their students. And The Imaginaries, an immersive musical, an original new work created by the newly formed BACT Writers Room. As a director and arts educator, she has worked with prominent theaters such as Bay Area Children's Theater, Atlantic Theater Company's Atlantic for Kids, New York City's Children's Theater, Disney Theatrical Group, Spellbound Theater, and more. As a producer, Ms. Davis has helped organizations reach hundreds of thousands of young people through interactive edutainment. I love that. With the nationally known Story Pirates generating new digital preschool content with Spellbound at Home, and a children's web series chronicling the experience of a little Black puppet girl named Nia living through the COVID-19 pandemic with her personal web-based company, Kids at Heart Productions. Before assuming her new role as artistic director, Ms. Davis served as the Director of Inclusion and Education with Brooklyn Children's Theater, restructuring their children's musical theater programming through an anti-racism lens. She made her professional theatrical debut at 13 years old, launching a lifelong career as a performer, splitting her time between California and NYC. Awards are 2019 Emerging Leaders Fellowship, Theater for Young Audiences, USA, 2019 NYCCT Leader Fellowship, 2021 Corey Medallion Award, Children's Theater Foundation of America, BA in Theater Arts for the University of Southern California. You can follow her at www.khaliadavis.com. Next bio is Idris Goodwin. Idris Goodwin is a multiple award-winning playwright, breakbeat poet, content creator, and arts champion. A 2021 United States Arts Fellow, Goodwin is recognized as a culture bearer who celebrates community values and cultivates histories with care. Idris is the author of over 60 original plays, ranging from his hip-hop inspired breakbeat series to historical dramas to works for young audiences. Goodwin has created original content for and or appeared on Nickelodeon, HBO Def Poetry, Sesame Street, NPR, BBC Radio, and the Discovery Channel. Your House is Not Just a House. His first picture book will be published by HarperCollins in 2024. Idris actively serves on the board of the Children's Theater Foundation Association and was recently named board president of Theater for Young Audiences, USA. Find him at www.idrisgoodwin.com and across all the socials. Now, without further ado, Khalia Davis and Idris Goodwin, can you turn on your camera and introduce yourself and say hello to the people and give a description for accessibility? Thank you.
Hi, hello everybody out there. My name is Khalia Davis. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm calling in from the ancestral lands of the Muwekma Ohlone tribes, also known as Oakland, California. I am a proud Black woman with medium brown skin. I have hoop earrings, some faux locks that go past my shoulders. I am wearing a purple sweater and a black hat, and I'm sitting in front of a gray wall with a really beautiful tapestry, which happened to be my award from the Corey Medallion Award, which it's just gorgeous.
Yes.
Cool. Idris Goodwin, he is beaming in from the unceded territory of the Cheyenne, the Ute, and Arapaho, colonially known as Colorado Springs, Colorado. For accessibility, I am a geez Louise, how do I describe myself? I'm a Black dude with facial hair, bald-headed, but tastefully, and wearing a mustard-colored t-shirt, and my background is blurred.
Fabulous. Thank you both. Okay. You both look great, by the way. I like those colors on you in your windows. That looks really good.
We're like the Lakers. We're just that we're going for the Lakers.
That's right. And I used to live in LA, so there we go.
That was not the team. Okay.
I'm from Louisiana, so I have that, maybe it's the
Oh
Creole.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay,
got
we can
that
go with that.
Mardi Gras
Yeah, we'll
vibe.
go with
Okay.
There
that.
we
I feel like
go.
that's less
Yes, yes.
controversial.
As a
Fat Tuesday.
Warriors fan, it just, ooh.
That's right.
So before we get deep into this thing, I just want to just let the audience know that we are all connected in an odd way. So like Idris and I go way back. I was rapping for him earlier from a piece that I was in called How We Got On, which I did at Portland Playhouse. I played Luann and I had a rap coach and everything. I rapped so hard that it just, even 5 years later, I still remember the rhymes. So I wanted to show you that, Idris. So we go way back. And then
Still
Khalia
got it.
here. Thank you. So Khalia, I feel like you and I are kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Like we're on the same vibe. I'm like, oh damn, like okay. How are you on the coast? So we were introduced recently to each other through Yvonne Rowan through email. But even when I saw your photo and we got to talk and everything, I was like, oh my God, she's like a sister. And then when I got to see you, they so lovingly, I was very honored. I got tickets. So had the pleasure and opportunity to watch the show last week on Friday, which I loved and adored. And I got to sit next to you during the show. And it just was really amazing experience to have. Oh my God, I just freaking loved the show. And I love the actress who did it as well. This was fantastic. So before we get into all of that, I just want to see and just take a temperature and just see how you both are doing today, like where you're at right now. I know you're coming from different places. Just let me know how you are, just like what's going on.
Thank you. I really appreciate getting an opportunity to put that into this space, because I think so often when we are asked to do these types of really fun and engaging interviews, that is the purpose and that is the goal and that is it. So I want to just say thank you first off for allowing us to invite everything that we are experiencing and everything that we're holding into this space, because I think it's needed and necessary and we shouldn't hide it. I will be completely transparent and say, I'm not doing great. In fact, I had the pleasure of hosting with the executive director of New York City Children's Theater, Andrew Frank, and their current leadership fellow, Fran Salo. I was able to co-host with them their most recent fundraising gala. That was beautiful and it was magical. But right before I went and got on the subway to get to the location, I unfortunately heard the tragic news that was happening down in Texas, and it made it very difficult for me to then think about, oh, I'm just going to go and like smile and yuck it up with these individuals when something so tragic happened to babies. And what I really appreciated was being able to fall apart with Yvonne, actually. Like, she held me for about a good 2 minutes in the ballroom, and then getting an opportunity to just say, I'm really grateful that what we can do in this moment is shine a light on the importance of the arts and arts education to create empathetic and compassionate human beings. Theater for young audiences has this incredible role in the arts industry as a whole, where we get to be the shepherds of like making good humans. And I just am really hopeful that we can keep building and bringing more arts and arts education into as many different places, schools, homes, so many kids can experience it, because then hopefully they will grow up and have a lot, be good souls. That's what I'm hoping for.
I hear you, and thank you for your honesty and sharing that. Where are you at, Idris?
Oh boy. Times like this, I just get more focused. Well, that's not the right word. I think just more committed to the work and the small dent that I feel like we in the storytelling business can make.
Right.
But also in sort of mentorship and creating spaces, et cetera, et cetera. I just have a lot more clarity around what I'm supposed to be doing and the values and how I need to just really live them as best I can. and also not be afraid to walk when it's not lining up. And I just, I don't know, there's just America just is who it is. And it isn't, you know, like looking the other way, allowing horrible things to happen, profiting off of misery. You know, like if Nino Brown was a country, you know, if the drug dealer on the corner was a country, it would be America. You know, when the people, when the old lady comes up and says, how you doing this to your own people, you know, and the drug
I
dealer
hear
is just
you.
like, you know, hey, I'm just trying to get, you know, I don't make them smoke the crack, right? That's America. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been in spite of, it's been in spite, any advancement we've had has been in spite of. So folk want to act like, oh, that's not who we are and our values. It's like, no, those are the values, right? Justice, equality, these are not naturally occurring phenomena. There is no justice or equality in the jungle, right? And America has made it abundantly clear that these concepts are just concepts, and there needs to be full-throated, nonstop pushing and fighting for just something that resembles humanity. It's not a given. And so it's just, it's when these things happen, they're shocking, they're horrifying, they're so sad, but it's never a surprise. You know, it's because that's who we are. That's who we are. I don't know how many times we got to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Michael Moore made a whole movie about this 20 years ago.
You're
He was
right about
asking the
that. That's
same
very
questions
true.
20 years ago. He was like, maybe it's us. What's up with us? And everyone's like, oh, whatever. Right? It's the exact same thing. We haven't answered the question. We ignore the question. So what is our job as storytellers and artists and culture makers is we have to keep bringing the questions up. We have to keep finding all the different ways to make people live in that question, and try to just create some small fissure in their humanity and in their soul that you know makes them act or makes them want to do something or shift or bust up status quo in some way, because that status quo, that stasis of America is powerful. Because we're all kind of doing okay. You see what I'm saying? Like
I do.
Like in America, you can, you know, if you're down with the status quo, you can kind of be all right. But at what cost, right? I'll stop there. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, everybody.
No, I think, you know, this is a part of why, like, created Black Spaces. It is an interview. We're having conversations, but also, you know, you are human beings who are having a human experience. You know, we're all here coming together and sharing a space. So I would be remiss if I'm like, oh, so let's just talk about, and you're like, like I'm tired. So I'm treating you how I would want to be treated if I was brought into a space like this, you know, which is just with kindness and respect and grace and understanding. You know, that's what I would.
Grace, respect, and understanding. You radical, you.
Doesn't always happen, right? You know, but I'll do it when I do it when I can.
Better hurry up for the CIA shut us down.
Please don't come get me. I know. I had lunch today with a previous Black Space guest, Bill Davis. He's a historian, and he knows everything about this. He teaches at Rutgers, and he teaches history about Black, like everything Black history, everything. And so we were talking about, I asked him about his response to this, and he was like, it's not surprising either, because if you look at why we even have to say what land we're on and say, like, this is the unceded land of the Lenape people. This is taken from the indigenous people of America in a violent way. So, and then dealing with how we came to be, some of us Black people came to be in this country down the line of slavery. So it's not a surprise that the violence still continues to persist. But what keeps me going, Idris, what you were saying kind of inspired me a bit, in the sense of thinking about how, as an artist, can I keep propel and moving forward? Like, what's my job? I continue to think about that. Even at this theater company at Jersey City, I'm like, what actually can we do in a meaningful way other than just sending like hearts and love and prayer, which
Some
I do,
prayers.
but like, but what else can I do, you know, and how can I continue to bring more peace within the communities that I'm in right now, you know? So like we're in conversation right now with me and the artistic director about how to create something more tangible in response to these things, because it's always going to be relevant, because this isn't the last time, you know, that we're going to have these conversations, especially each time I've done a Black space event. The last one I had, there was the Buffalo, New York shooting the day before. And then this one is the Uvalde, Texas. And then yesterday is the anniversary of George Floyd's murder. So this is always going to be relevant, but like, what can I do? So it's not always just like, oh man, this sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes me think about Maya Angelou as well, because why I'm saying that is because some people, they're like, how come, you know, this person is like this, or why are Black people, they try to make a blanket statement, but who are your mentors and who are the people that are the example for how to be a, you know, well-rounded human being, you know what I mean? Like, who's the person that sets the standard for that, or how do you find that journey? And I think Maya Angelou has been that great mentor for a lot of young people who may not have that representation in their lives. They can read her book, or now they can go see this play and see a portion of her life and be like, oh wow, like I see myself, or I see the humanity within Maya Angelou through this play. So I think that's something, when I think about mentors and elders and things like that, they kind of step in. Even if you don't know the person directly, you can find a way to know them indirectly. So what do y'all think as far as Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings? Like, do you see it in conversation, or were able to give us some thought of how this can be in conversation with what is happening in the world right now? Or what do you think? And if you don't know, then that's totally okay. I just was seeing if you had any words on it. If not, it's totally fine.
Oh, I think what the sad response is, it is very relevant. That is the harsh reality that Black people walk in, that our ancestors, our lineage is so often, unfortunately, tied to historical trauma. And yet we have to be the ones who are resilient. We persevere, and then we go on to be great. And we are known in our greatness for the works that we do and we bring to the world. And it is this is a cyclical thing. Like, you see it time and time again. When Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson going through all of her confirmation hearings and just consistently having to defend something that she shouldn't have to defend.
That's
She's
right.
overly qualified, but because she identifies and shows up in the world as a Black woman first in front of their faces, there's just already this perceived expectation or knowledge or whatever they want to put on it, what they believe. And she has to push through that. So I think it is interesting how a book that came out in 1969, that is in essence a memoir, is still incredibly relevant to what young people of color are facing in this country today.
That's right.
Concur, second, third, fifth, fourth, eighth, 12th. Couldn't have said it better myself. But yeah, it's like I say, America is, so there's this little thing I do. I have this keynote I give, right? And one of the things I do is I show the picture of all the cats signing the Declaration of Independence, right? All the founding fathers, heavy quotes.
Wow.
And then there's another, and then there's the same, I flip to the next slide and it's the same image, but they're red dots on a bunch of the faces, except I think all but like 3 faces. And the red dots represent everyone who was a slave owner, right? So if that picture is meant to symbolize America, the American dream, what America is about, all men are created equal, right?
Right.
who's in that room? Well, actually, let me back up. Who's not in that room?
Right.
People of color in that room. There are no women in that room. There are no young people in that room, right? It's all the same guy, right? And almost all of them own slaves. So that's who we come from. You know what I'm saying? That's like the foundation. You know what I'm saying? There were no Native Americans. None of the tribes are in that picture, right? And so ain't nothing new under the sun. Ain't nothing new under the sun, you know? And the fact that when I show that picture with the dots on it, people are like, oh, right. It's like, that shouldn't be a surprise. That shouldn't
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So with the CRT and all of that stuff. So again, it's just like, time is a concept. The idea of progress and the idea that we get progress just because time passes. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that happens when time passes is fruit goes bad, right? Progress doesn't just happen because tomorrow's tomorrow, right?
That's right.
So
Yeah, true.
we have the conversations that we need to have. You know, these things will just persist and just keep happening and keep happening and keep happening. And keep happening, you know, and I think the play is a reminder of that, of like,
absolutely,
what has changed and what has stayed the same. And even in one of the reviews we just received, one of the critiques was, Maya seems okay. She seems okay. She seems like she's showing up, and I'm like, do you not know Black people? Seems okay, fam? Do you know any Black people? What are you talking about? Seems okay. First of all, she wrote the book. Like, she wrote the book. She was okay enough to write the book. Like, also, have you seen Maya Angelou? Like, you know, like, it's in spite of. It's in spite of. That's what the story is about. The story is about that constant reconnecting and finding the light and moving forward and growing and healing through storytelling, healing through language, healing through poetry, healing through ritual, which is very Black. And so to me, that is what that story is a reminder of, is that it's just like, even in this short sliver of time that we capture in the life of young Maya Angelou, she goes through all sorts of peaks and valleys, you know, really traumatic things, things that happen to her family, things that happen to her, right? But what is her other very famous poem? Still I Rise, right?
Right.
It's true.
Okay. Y'all are bringing up so many beautiful jewels. So I'm like trying to take notes while you're talking and like I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, here we go. Okay. So, all right. So one thing I would like to touch on as far as when we're talking about, all right, Still I Rise, right? So in conversation with where she was and then where we are now, based on seeing where things have changed or where they're still the same. So if we're talking about, like, my last Black space guest, we talked about resilience and how that can be exhausting for Black people, especially for specifically Black women. We're talking about the conversation. So if someone is watching this show and says, oh, she's okay, but not acknowledging the exhaustion that comes along with having to appear, if that's what they're seeing, to be okay. I think that for me as a Black woman watching the piece, I got it, that this human being is going through a lot of trials and is really being pushed, and then having to find a way, yes, becoming resilient, but there's a cost to it. And how does one cope with that? So that's something that comes up for me. And then at the same time, in education, because this is at the New York City Children's Theater, you know, so we're talking about some really triggering things at a very young age for Maya Angelou. How did y'all, or Idris, how did you decide when you're writing the adaptation of this piece that, okay, I'm going to include this, or this is the portion of Maya Angelou's life I want to focus on for a children's theater? Like, how did that conversation come to mind, and how did you make that decision?
Whenever I adapt books, I always know that I need like a dramaturg. I always know that I need a strong counterpoint, just because I have ADD and reading is a challenge. And I need to make sure that what I thought I read, I actually just read. So I always like to bring in a dramaturg, typically someone who's a very good reader, like who is voracious and very good with like comprehension and text and fine line stuff. So shout out Jana Siegel. I was living in Louisville at the time. Jana works at University of Louisville. I'm pretty sure she's still there. Sorry, my bad, Jana, if you don't. But I'm pretty sure at the time she was at the University of Louisville. So we were like, this will be great because like we're both in town and we can, and I was running a theater company there. So I had space and we were gonna like really just bring in an actor and just read the book. We were just all gonna like read, we were gonna like book club, right? And then COVID happened. So I started listening to it on Audible, as read by Maya Angelou herself, actually. And one of the things we decided on quickly is, first of all, is like the challenge of writing for TYA is that you got to typically try to keep it no more than 70 at the most, but ideally closer to an hour. And this is just because of the dynamics of kids and they get bussed in and, you know, and it just deals with some of the realities of the audience that we're dealing with. So I knew I was not, and you know, Cage Bird is not, you know, that is not a magazine. Like it is, right? It's very small font. Maya Angelou never met an adjective or a metaphor she didn't love. So it's just rich, and there's a lot of it. So I'm like, okay, we got to start making some choices on. Because I was like, I don't want to like do like 5 minutes, right? So I was like, let's focus on the stamps years. Let's focus on the stamp years because I was also thinking about, you know, we didn't want to go with a traditional adaptation approach where like it's multiple actors playing multiple characters. And then we lose the strength of Maya Angelou's voice, her literal narration. So we decided, well, what if we, you know, I read this fact about the age she was when she wrote the book, and at the encouragement of James Baldwin. And so I was like, what if once upon a time she actually, before starting to write the book, actually physically took a trip back to Stamps and went back to the general store that she grew up in and sort of let the space kind of conjure memories for her. So that was like our sort of theatrical concept. So as such, we confine the time period to just the Stamps years, you know, before she then goes off to California and has that whole adventure. Ideally, too, we're like, if we kill it, then maybe we get a sequel. We could do a part 2 of that, right? So that is what we did. Is we sort of narrowed it and thought about like, okay, so she's here engaging with memory, and she's trying to find something. She's trying to find, ultimately, there's one central piece she's trying to find before she can leave and go back to the world. So that was the concept, and that was how we kind of made those decisions.
I thought it was done very well. In my most like humble opinion, for me, when I was sitting in the audience, I was like, yes. Humor, you know, heart, and then there was heartache as well. There was awe, there was inspiration, there was hope, you know, there was all these things in there. Kudos to, I mean, the whole team, like the lighting design, the set design, costume, direction, the writing, it all was like a perfect marriage for me. And having the one actor, this actress, can you say her name? I want to make sure I don't say it incorrectly. Can y'all say her full name for me? Just put it in the air.
Cherie J. Davis.
Cherie, you were freaking fabulous. And I think that, and I still had like dreams about the play afterwards. And I was seeing the characters, even though she was the one who was playing the character, I was actually putting a face and everything. So that's how well she broke that down. So I just want to say, yeah, that was really well done. And Khalia, so for you coined, or I don't say you coined the term, but I was intrigued in your bio, you have edutainment. I don't ever hear people say edutainment. Can you define that and then like talk about how that edutainment is relating to Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings to the audiences that will be watching it in New York?
Of course, edutainment is a combination of 2 words, education and entertainment, educational entertainment. So often we equate children's shows on TV or film or even theater as being for them. And then there's like, some of them are just flashy and silly, and that's it. Some of them are like, we're teaching you your numbers and your letters. And there are a few programs that exist right now and have existed that are able to combine both of those things. And you don't necessarily need a lot of pomp, circumstance, and flash. And I think that's the beauty of I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings for New York City Children's Theater. They strategically had this show put in their season for older audiences because this book is read starting in 8th grade. So this is actually part of the curriculum that young people are asked to participate in. So it only makes sense then that we can do this as a piece for that demographic, which is really lovely.
Absolutely.
Which I'm really happy about. So yeah, it's an opportunity for kids to come and learn about the history of someone who has been proclaimed a hero, a legend, an icon. Yeah. And we put humanity there right in front of them. We see her discovering in the moment, because theater, if it's a theater piece, we want to activate every aspect of the show. It is why I say it's like, it's different than if this was being put in the African American Museum, which low-key hit us up. But the Smithsonian Museum, I think there would be a different take on how we would present this work. It would be probably more of a narrative. They would be sitting there and the actress would be probably almost reading or reciting the words, as opposed to in a theatrical setting, we want in the entertainment portion of it, we want the audience to see a journey that's happening. Idris talked about a hero's journey when we first started talking together about this work and what he was envisioning. And I think that is so true, because we love a good hero's journey story. And that's what kids relate to. They have so many heroes in many different forms, and it's just one more that they can have. So yeah, there's an opportunity to be entertained by her story, but also then to receive those nuggets of wisdom, inspiration, connection, commonality, especially for individuals who go to see this show that identify as Black or Brown people. Like, they can see someone who is a reflection of themselves, their auntie, their mom, their grandma, somebody in their family. And hopefully that can also spark a sense of desiring to know more. We even had a young person say, like, I didn't want it to end. What happens next? And that's the mark of a great show, is somebody who says, I want more of it and I want to learn more. And it's so great to then be like, here's a book. Here's the whole thing. You actually can, because we are not just providing entertainment, but we're providing you edutainment. There is a long tail that happens after this show.
That real quick, and bravo on everything said. Khalia Davis, pinpoint accuracy per usual. But also, too, fun fact, the term edutainment was first popularized by KRS-One of Boogie Down Productions. Their third album came out in 1990 is called Edutainment.
Hey, see,
he's got songs on. I mean, it really. I mean, he's got songs in there about, you know, being a vegetarian, and songs about, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's known as the teacher, and this is him going full tilt boogie, because he was also one of the first hip hop artists to like go on college speaking tours, you know. And so yeah, he also one of my, shout out to homie Kevin Koval, he and I argue about what is the best Boogie Down Productions album. It is not Edutainment to me, but Edutainment is his favorite. But anyway.
No, that's really funny. My brother is a rap artist, a professional rap artist, and he did college tours. Like, that is something that he started doing. And I remember bringing up the album and bringing up this.
Oh, really?
It was just like, oh yeah, okay.
What's his name?
He goes by Little B, Bass
God. Wait, what? What did you just say?
Little B, Bass God.
You're related to this person?
Yeah, he's my brother.
Get out of here. You're blowing my mind right
Look
now.
at that.
Okay, we have to, I thought we were friends, but clearly there's a whole other part of
it is not
life
something that I walk around with, like, oh yeah, fun fact. I'm related to an underground rap artist. Here you go.
He was pretty big in Chicago when I was living in Chicago.
I have
This
learned
comes full circle.
this is what's wild. I have learned so much about how far a reach you can have through him, because I
Wow.
have people, when they find this out, we're like, oh, but and they're from Jersey or New York or the Bay or Atlanta or Chicago. Like, it's so cool to see how far reaching an artist's work can get. It's great.
I'm now obsessed with this, and I'm now going to write a play for the both of you to be in, because the fact that you two are related is blowing my mind right now. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, Maya
Oh,
Angelou.
please.
She's your
Maya.
Bailey.
Oh, yeah.
He's
But
your
there is
Bailey.
a connection.
He's your Bailey.
So, okay. I am going, okay. So we're going to do a fun little round here. It's about 15 minutes till, and I want to make sure I want to get some questions in that maybe people haven't heard either of you answer before. And it's because I'm a theater geek. And I watched James Lipson Actor Studio.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask those questions of you if you're familiar with them.
I love that. I would pretend as a kid, watch it on Bravo, and then I would sit on the couch and I would pretend to be interviewed and like even have the silly, all of it.
So here we go. We'll do Khalia, you'll answer one, and then Idris, you'll answer the same question, but that's the order. It's Khalia and then Idris and Khalia. Okay? Okay, here we go. All right. What is your favorite word?
Smile, because you can't say it without doing it.
Love you so much. Okay.
That's pretty good. I mean, yikes. You're going to ask a writer what his favorite word is. That is
That's
fair.
right.
That is
What
not
is it?
fair.
If you had, just today, your favorite word today.
Favorite word today? Oh gosh, I feel like I've been saying it. I feel like I've been saying it a bunch today already. And now it's like escaping me. And I know as soon as this thing ends, it's gonna come. I'm gonna say some stupid word now, and then like as soon as we get off, I'm gonna be like, extemporaneous. No.
Email me, extemporaneous.
No, it's not extemporaneous. That was just like an example. See, here's what's hard about this question. Is it the sound? Is it the sound of the word? Is it the sound of the word?
It's whatever it is literally your own interpretation of the question.
This is not fair. You were like, this is like you trapped me in a maze. Like, that's just like how easy it is to stump me. It's just like, what's your favorite word? Edutainment. There we go.
Oh, okay. All right. I like that. What is your least favorite word? Khalia?
No.
Okay.
It stops everything. And I don't like that.
You know what? We'll talk about no. Because I feel like people don't just say no. I feel like they give you a lot of like, no one just says, they're like, I don't think now's the appropriate time, or, they don't just say no.
Maybe
like,
you're right.
No.
Maybe what the reason I don't like that word is because I hear that word in
You
other.
feel no, but they don't just say no. Because I'm very good at saying no, and I say no, and people are shocked by it.
Me too.
Like, yeah, no. But now we can do something else. Okay, what word?
What's your least favorite? Come on.
Well, these are 3 words. I don't like the words thoughts and prayers.
Oh, I said it a few times on here. I'm sorry about that. Okay, we go.
Not from you.
Okay.
No, from Ted Cruz and guys who look like him.
Okay, cool, good. Whew, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Now this is just however you interpret this. It's like, I don't know, educationally, artistically, what turns you on?
Educationally and artistically, right? That's what you
or whatever. I had to say that because some people interpret it wrong. I'm like,
I got
it's
a man
not
in
that.
the blaze. What turns me on, what I will rephrase if I might, because it does lead me down a weird path if I say it with that wording, but I think what gets me juiced or excited is when I am in the room with other like collaborators. I don't do well by myself. I have never created anything good on my own. I've always needed other people there, whether it's just my mom who is holding the camera for me as I am puppeteering for my puppet show, or it is literally a room of other incredible artists who have their own ideas of how they want to make this show happen. That's what turns me on. That's what gets me going, is vibing off of those thought partners and that brain trust that is happening. I got to be in collaboration with folks.
I love that. What turns you on, Idris?
Oh, so many things, but I'm trying to think of, like, as of late. I mean, I'm really into my kids, actually. My sons are pretty great, and the things they say, the things they do, how they, when they, like, they're kind of awesome.
I love that. Okay. What turns you off?
White supremacy.
Oh, yep.
I was about
to say something very similar. I was like, whiteness.
Yeah, whiteness.
I love y'all so much. Okay. What sound or noise do you love, Khalia?
This is kind of piggybacking off of Idris, but the sound of children's laughter. There is something very magical and beautiful and heartwarming. And we just got to experience it in our space when we opened our doors again to audiences, and just the first wave of little ones screeching and screaming and loving the space and playing it. Yeah.
That sounds beautiful. Idris, what's yours?
Yeah, that is a really, really good sound. I am a foodie, and so I love the sound of sizzle.
Ooh.
I love the sound of just anything sizzling. You're just like immediately Pavlov, you don't even know what's cooking, but just that, you're like, oh, something's about to go down.
What sound or noise do you hate?
White supremacy. No.
That's for all the hate. Okay. Khalia? Same or?
This is going to be random, but since you asked, I really don't like the sound of people kissing. I don't like watching people making out in movies or on stage or on TV shows, because the sound of it is uncomfortable to me. I have a beautiful, wonderful partner, and I love him dearly. And I like that it's a private thing that no one needs to see or hear, because I don't appreciate hearing or seeing and kissing. I don't like the sound.
I understand. So white supremacy for you, right, Idris? Is that what you said? Okay.
Yep.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Ooh, okay. At different stages of my life that I would have answered differently. Like, there was a stage, which I think all kids that grew up in the 90s, we all were obsessed with marine biology for a weird reason. Like, a lot of my friends talk about how we all wanted to be marine biologists. Shout out the sea. But I think now in this day and age, if I was not in the arts, I probably would want to be in something that has to do with social activism or social work in that capacity, because I still would want to have some tie into benefiting young people that is not necessarily under the guise of just like the structure of the institution of education, because I feel like that would be a cop-out for me to say, because I am also an educator right now. So I'm not, but yeah, something in social work, because I care about those little ones, and I want to fix the foster care system so badly, and I want to change how the adoption process operates. Like, I would want to do something in that world.
I hear that. Idris?
Okay. This is a little controversial, okay, guys, and this is just hypothetical, okay?
Yeah.
I was raised by the people I was raised by.
Of course.
Okay. But I'm just saying, let's say I wasn't. No, I would be like a really good, and I'm going to say this word, but it's not, I want to qualify it. Okay. I would be a really good criminal. Now, let me just add something. Like more of like a Robin Hood type, like, you know what I mean? Like not like a petty, like I would be like a good, I would be like rob from the rich, give to the poor, like
Okay.
that kind of criminal. You know what I mean? With a heart of gold. Heart
Would
of
you say
gold.
you would be a smooth criminal?
A smooth criminal.
Yep, yep. And
Khalia,
you wouldn't know, and
you
you'd
are.
meet me, and you'd be like, "Was I hit by? Was I struck by?" And I'd lean. No, I
Love
would.
y'all.
I would be. I mean, if I wasn't so absolutely terrified of prison, I'd be pretty good because I'm likable, and I'm like, but I'm, and yeah, and I don't know. I would, and I get schemes all the time. I don't do anything, obviously, because I am who I am.
What profession would you not like to do?
I wouldn't want to be president of the United States.
Oh,
I do not. I do not
I
want
got
to
that.
be.
Oh
president of the
yeah,
United States.
me neither. Me neither. Idris?
I don't think I could do law enforcement.
Mm,
Yeah, no, thank you.
I hear that.
Yeah.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
See, now you asked Idris about the favorite word question, and he's a playwright, and that trips him up. You asked a strong Christian that question, and like I'm trying not to cry because I'm literally like, this is my dream.
Yeah. Oh. Well, take your
wow,
time.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh.
I would love for Jesus to be like, you got it. Thank you for understanding. Because I want to make sure that we are truly embodying those teachings of love and compassion for everybody. And so I would want him to be like, you got it. I'm glad.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm right there with you. And you do got it from what I've seen and what I've been experiencing of you. Sorry. Okay. Idris,
I'm going to stay on this controversial. I'm going to stay on this controversial trajectory. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to just say it. Khalia, earmuffs. Honestly, I would want God to apologize. Yeah. And explain thyself, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think something's getting lost in translation here about, you know what I'm saying? Like something's not, my understanding is like, you tell me what the nature of this deal, because I'm not getting it, you know? So I would want God to say, my bad, but let me explain.
You both are such amazing artists and human beings. And I'm so grateful for your honesty and your candidness. Just coming in here and giving me your heart and your soul. I really appreciate that. And so I just have a few words I would like to. Oh, good. Somebody just types, I enjoyed the show and I enjoyed the guests. Someone just wrote, okay. So I have a few words to close us out. I just want to say, Khalia Davis and Idris Goodwin, you both are geniuses. You are so appreciated and loved. And we appreciate you, your art, and your soul and your voice. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. It was an absolute honor.
Thank you for creating this space.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And just for the audiences who know, you can catch Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings at Theater Row on 42nd Street. Tickets are pay what you can. Show closes on June 5th. You can purchase tickets on the New York City Children's Theater website. So is there anything else? We just have like a few more minutes. Is there anything else y'all want to say or anything like that before we end this live stream about the show or anything like that? Or do you feel, I'll give you all the floor if there's anything else you want to add. If not, that is totally okay. Any last words? No? Okay.
Not really. I would just like to
Okay.
shout out happy International Arts Education and Arts Educator Week. I think that it's really amazing that we get to celebrate the artists who go into the classrooms, the artists who create the videos, the artists who stand in front of young people and just get them excited about how they can be creative and unlock that creativity. So yay.
One thing I wanted to add from a previous Black Space guest, Dr. Tawanda Hubbard, she said, let's move through the world and be better ancestors, be a better ancestor for the people coming after us. So as we continue to move through the world, doing the work that we're doing, the changes we're trying to make, how are we going to be, even the people watching, be better ancestors for the people coming after us? That's something to think about. So yes, all right. So thank you both. Ryan, you can end the live stream. Let's just give him a moment. We're still figuring out how to end.